quality and safety.
especially in those rural areas where they don't have NC.
And that's been going on for over 23 years. And it started in the western Midwest in this country and has spread throughout the country because it's safe and it's good. Now, there'll be lots of criticism of me for making this statement, but I will say to you that we all should recognize the need to work in teams. And in those teams, it's not about who's at the top of the team. It's about doing things safely. And I think that just like our nurses at the bedside have led the response to COVID, supported by great physicians and the technical expertise that I bring as a doctor, is really in support of that bedside nurse that's delivering care. We also recognize that stabilizing, I started out in internal medicine, I worked ER for a few years, I then did dermatology, and then was a complete disappointment to my spouse because I went into administrative medicine rather than practicing dermatology. So, at the risk of being flippant, let me move away from that. We've recognized the fact that the response to this pandemic takes an extraordinary team base. And we've also recognized when I was in the ER and we'd intubate a patient, I could stabilize a patient pretty quickly once that tube was in. It can take an hour to really stabilize a patient after intubation in an ICU. This is very difficult work. And therefore, having every member of the team working to the top of their licensure is what I want. I want maximum agility in this system. And as long as we're doing it safely, that's what I want, and that's what we'll continue to do. So, people say, what's the future for our advanced practice nurses? Everything. Everything will be in the future, and we will work as teams. And in those teams, you will have a role, I as a physician will have a role, and we will work to make sure that the veteran is cared for effectively. And it frankly will be the model for the rest of America. And as long as I'm here, that's exactly where we're going to approach this.
Well, thank you for that and your advocacy, because that is one of the reasons why I asked you to be our keynote speaker, not only because of your leadership during COVID, but your advocacy of full practice, and we thank you for that.
So let me take you back to some of my combat deployment. The farthest reaches of combat resuscitation are done by advanced practice nurses. And those advanced practice nurses, those great combat medics, those ships that are out isolated with those delivering really very advanced care, have delivered unprecedented survival of combat wounds that are highly complex. And all of us recognize the great difficulty after roadside bombs removing limbs or causing massive pelvic hemorrhage, the difficulty in managing the respiratory tract as well as complex resuscitation. There are lots of ways to do this work. And I think there are examples out there that we learned from the military that we ought to be doing. And so I'm very, very pleased at the expanded role of the combat medic and these various types of providers that you all represent as people work through. In fact, we talked to this morning up on the floor, a combat medic that went on to get a diploma nurse and then on to a full 4-year degree, and now working on a master's degree as we were walking across the floors. That's the model we want.
Yeah.
We want people really continuing to move their expertise. And I'm proud of what you all represent and the thousands of people that are listening to this.
Excellent. I was excited to hear about the improvement in logistics and ordering supplies, because that is one thing that we sorely need. Being able